I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs. And today, the other white meat gets its turn in the spotlight as we make a meal of pork loin. Serving it seasoned and seared alongside Parmesan risotto with shallots and wild mushrooms along for the ride. Joining me in the Dinner DeeAs kitchen it's you. Today, it's just you and me, my friends. I'm bringing you a recipe of my very own. Seared pork tenderloin with Parmesan risotto, roasted shallots, and wild mushrooms. Answering a call for help from Diana. Hi, Diana. She slid into our DMs at facebook.com/DinnerDeeAs and asked if we could make a gluten-free recipe. Well, Diana, your wish is our command. And for anyone else watching, if you have a recipe request or a chef that you'd like to see on the show, find us there, facebook.com/DinnerDeeAs, or you can email us, dinnerdeeas@fox.com. So for Diana and for everyone watching today, let's get started with all of this. We've got some nice olives and some beautiful cherry tomatoes. We also have some really nice thinly sliced shallots. And we're gonna throw these right in with a little bit of some olive oil. Now, as you can see here, I've got a nice squirt bottle, and this is perfect. You can find these on Amazon. They're absolutely fantastic because, one, you've got great control because you can really kind of squeeze it, so you can know exactly how much is going in versus just pouring it all in. But you can also make sure that if you were making like a nice infused oil at the house and you wanted to be able to transfer it to something, here's your opportunity to do that. You wanna make a basil oil? You go right ahead and do that. A garlic confit oil? You got this right here for that reason. So that's what we have here for that. We also have a little bit of some garlic and some shallots because you always want to make sure that we're going to bring a little bit more flavor, and those work so well together with what we've got, as well as just a little bit of some rosemary, okay? And I really, really finely minced everything here with our aromatics. We got those rosemary. We got a little bit of thyme, and I love the thyme in this because the thyme brings out a nice lemon bite behind it as well. A little salt. A little black pepper here. And, you know, if you want to play around with some other fresh herbs in this one, absolutely you can. You want to bring a little bit of basil and make it a little bit sweeter to play off more of those tomatoes, go right ahead and do that. That's actually a really great idea right there. But what you just want to do is bring it a very nice fine mince behind it, because as you can see, as I'm really kind of tossing and bringing all of our flavors, all of our ingredients together, you could see that it's getting well incorporated, because I want every bite to get all of those flavors. I want those shallots to take on that rosemary. I want those tomatoes to take on that thyme. I want our garlic and shallots there that also just add so much flavor. All right, I feel good about this, as you should too. We're gonna just take a nice sheet pan here. Make sure you get everything out and onto your sheet pan. I always like to give it a nice little bit of a stir here. And if you want to, you can throw just a little bit of extra oil on top of it. Give a nice little bit more toss there. And this is gonna go into the oven. We got it preheated for 350 degrees, and we're gonna roast these for about 40-45 minutes here. Step one is done, and that's gonna take the most time. So while that's in the oven, let's go start with our risotto. Now this is really, really simple. Sometimes you get intimidated by making risotto at the house, and I get it. A lot of time, do I really have to keep stirring? You do, but it is worth it. And here's how we're gonna do my version of this, that you can have some fun too. Okay, so we're gonna take a little bit more of that oil that we had here from before. We're just gonna get a nice little coating inside our pan here. And what that is gonna do and help us with is that when we add our butter right here, it's going to allow for the butter to melt, but not burn, okay? And you can already see here that happening. So I'm just gonna start bringing this together to melt our butter down. And this is a perfect time that I can add a little bit of some fennel. Now, I did a really nice mince of fennel. I like the fennel for this dish, and this is a little bit unique here, but trust me on this one, it's gonna be good. I like the fennel because it's gonna bring a nice little bit of a bite. It also is gonna give a little bit more of that chew that we're looking for too. You could use, if you wanted to, some onions. That's absolutely fine if you don't like the flavor that comes from our fennel, but I actually do. I really like that. And it almost has like an anise licorice type bite behind it. And with everything that's happening in this dish, there's so many different ways to just celebrate great ingredients. This is just one of those ways to do it because Diana and everyone else watching, grab my recipe for this risotto plus the pork tenderloin that we'll be cooking later at dinnerdeas.com. The fastest way to find us is with your phone using the QR code that we have down in the corner of the screen there. Just open the camera app as if you're about to take a photo, and when it's in frame and in focus, also big enough, a link to us will pop up on your phone. Okay, so that's perfect. We just got a nice little bit of coating there. And then what I want to do next is bring in our arborio rice. Now, we got that base there of oil, butter, and of course, that fennel. And what I want to do here is I want to stir and bring all these ingredients together. And you can start seeing what was happening to that arborio rice. It's taking on that butter, it's taking on that oil, and you can see that because now it's getting really shiny and getting a nice coating. And all I want to do here is just kind of toast it. I just want to open up our rice a little bit here and mix everything together. And it's at a perfect time here that we're just going to open up everything with a little bit of white wine. We want this to evaporate, and this is a perfect time for me to actually bring up my heat. I started about medium, and I've been tempering it a little bit while we were kind of working with the tomatoes earlier. But I want to be able to cook out this wine, let it evaporate. And what the wine does is it helps with a nice little bit of a breaking down that richness here. So I'm going to use just a nice dry wine. You could use like an Albarino, a Pinot Grigio works really well, but also, if you don't like any of those and you want to use a Chardonnay, it's going to have a nice little buttery note, you go right ahead and do that. This is your risotto, so you have as much fun with it as you want. And what's really nice here is you can see all of that wine has evaporated. All of that wine has also just really gone away. You really can see it. It's really nothing's there. And it's also lifted anything that was at the bottom of your pot here, which is fantastic because right here, I'm going to start adding slowly in at a ladle at a time. Okay, this is really important here. Maybe just a little bit more there. Our stock. And again, I'm using that chicken stock. I like the flavor. And that also brings a nice little bit of salinity behind it, that saltiness that's going to really be nice and creamy. And slowly, all I want to be able to do is keep monitoring and stirring and adding stock slowly in. I want to be able to make this nice and creamy and also allow for it to cook, absorb into our rice. And when you feel as though that it's kind of dry and taking on everything, you add another ladle. I'm going to keep doing this here, folks, because it's time for taking a break. And yes, I'm going to miss you while you're going to miss me too. But while you're gone, promise me that you're going to come right back because I'll show you how to get the best also from a great value meat that you shouldn't sleep on next time that you're at the store. Ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz. We're making a recipe by request today. Diana wrote us on Facebook to ask for a gluten-free idea for dinner. So I've come up with this dish of seared pork tenderloin with a Parmesan risotto, roasted shallots, and wild mushrooms. Before the break, I started by tossing together tomatoes, shallots, garlic, olives with olive oil, salt, thyme, a little rosemary, got it all onto a sheet pan and into the oven. Then started on this beautiful risotto, melting butter with some olive oil, coating our rice, and then adding in diced fennel, shallots, garlic, and then the white wine, letting that reduce, then stirring in hot chicken stock, one ladle at a time. Then during the break, adding a little more butter and some Parmesan cheese, and a luxurious dash of truffle oil. Totally worth it, and a little goes a long way. And before we go any further, let's see how it tastes. Oh my God. And that cheese was enough for me to kind of start playing with it. But this is that moment. You can add a little bit more salt if you need to. I am going to just do a little bit of pepper there for me. Work all those flavors in. And just set this aside here. Let that rest for a second because now we're going to start with our pork tenderloin. Now I'm setting this aside. Now, I added the Parmesan cheese and the truffle oil. That's a great starting point. We have so many different great ways that you could be able to have some fun with risotto. You can make a nice arancini with it, a soupli with it, and we've got so many great recipes that use leftover rice on dinnerdeas.com. So there you go. That's a great foundation. It has all of the elements that you might want to be able to do, plus, of course, the truffle oil that I added. But that's awesome. Now you can go into a totally fun direction, have as much fun as you want with it, and make another great dish because, again, value. Cook a little bit extra, save a little bit, and then you're on to the next dish that you have. Because to make this risotto or the tenderloin that we're about to do, grab the recipe at our website, dinnerdeas.com, or just scan the QR code down there in the screen. All right. Now, still speaking of the theme of value here, pork tenderloins. Now, many times that you're at the grocery store, you see a great BOGO for them. Take advantage of it, my friends, because you can get some savings, and if you think ahead, you might be able to save a little bit of money in the process too. It's really important. Now, I wanted to show you what we got from this BOGO. This is it, 2 pork tenderloins. One still has a little bit of fat, still has a little bit of that silver skin there, and the other does not. Now, I trimmed this, I cleaned this, because this is already a very lean protein. It's absolutely fantastic. And for under 20 bucks, look at how much meat you could be able to have. If you wanted to take this one here, if you had a vacuum saver and you wanted to put that in the bag, seal it, put it into your freezer, absolutely go ahead and do that. Or if you don't, you could do a nice Ziploc bag, making sure you get all of the air out, putting it into the freezer so that way then it doesn't get that freezer burn that no one really likes when it comes to meats. Label it, date it, make sure you know what it is, and then you can have it at another point in time. So all I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take a little bit of salt, and I'm really going to generously coat our pork, and I'm gonna make all of our pork on both sides here. I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of some crushed pepper. Okay. I'm gonna get it on this side here. I'm also going to just take a few fresh herbs here. Again, we're keeping that theme here. We're going to sprinkle high with a little bit of some rosemary. Always works really, really well with pork. That flavor profile really hits it nicely. And a little bit of thyme here. And as you can see here, I'm sprinkling high, and there's a reason behind that. It's for greater distribution for all of these aromatics to hit the surface of my area. Because if I just kind of concentrate it in one area, I might just get a glump of all of that rosemary or that thyme in this case. But if I go high, I have a better means for it to be able to have a better coating, distribution, versus, and I'll just show you on this example here, right there. If I just go so low, look at that little bit right there. That is like all in on that one there. You don't want that. You want even coating. All right, and this looks good. Give it a nice little bit of a pat. Get that salt, get that pepper, that rosemary, that thyme all in. Now I'm gonna just take a nice cast iron skillet here. I like cast iron for this one here because I can get a nice little bit of a hard sear. I can regulate the temperatures here really nicely. And I've got a little bit of oil because I'm also gonna add that butter. Because it's such a lean protein, it needs fat. There's really not that much fat going on in our pork here. So I wanna be able to just get a nice little bit of some fat being introduced by adding it right in with our protein. And just like that, we're just gonna bring this into our pan here. And I'm gonna monitor and keep this going here. I wanna get a nice sear on one side and monitor it so I can get a beautiful crust on the other side. While we take a break, you watch the ads, I'll keep an eye on the pork, and when we come back, how to eat your greens, but make them delicious while you do it. Ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz. It's just the two of us today, me and you, and on the menu, a gluten-free recipe requested by Diana on our Facebook page. And my idea for dinner for her and you, a seared pork tenderloin with Parmesan risotto, roasted shallots, and mushrooms. Before the break, we took our finished risotto off the heat and put it to one side while we got the pork loin ready. coating it with finely chopped rosemary, thyme, salt, and pepper, and searing it on high heat, flipping it during the break only when it was golden brown delicious, and adding in some more butter, garlic, shallots, and the rest of our herbs that were left over from earlier, and started basting it, bringing, again, more fat to such a clean, lean protein here. And this is absolutely beautiful. It's not done yet, though. We're gonna pop it into our oven here, and we're gonna just give it a few minutes here, about 5 to 7 minutes here, because what I'm looking for is to bring that up to about 145 degrees. 145 is going to be that critical part for us to be able to make sure that that pork is perfect. So I also started a little bit ago working with our mushrooms. Now I already started sauteing these up and getting a nice hard sear on my Taki, king oyster, and pearl oyster. Now I like these blends because it's just a little bit more fun, you get a little more flavor, and it's just different versus just having sometimes your button or your portobello, which, no disrespect, you want to use those for this dish, go right ahead. Absolutely. But for tonight, I want to have a little bit more fun. So hard sear on them, released a lot of that moisture. A little bit of garlic and shallots went into that one. Obviously, a little bit of some oil and that butter to get that sear. And we're going to just add our roasted vegetables that we did from earlier. We had those beautiful brininess that's going to come from those olives. We had those cherry tomatoes. And of course, those shallots. To make this for your dinner, grab the recipes for all of it at dinnerdeas.com. You can also watch this show again if you missed any of it. Just scan the QR code down there to get right to us. So let's have some fun with some greens, because who doesn't love a little bit of green? I love spinach, super popular. We're gonna just go a little bit of some olive oil, a little bit of butter. And this is just really simple, folks. I mean, literally, if you wanted to be able to boil these and then put them into the ice box to shock them, you absolutely could. I like to sometimes just go straight into our pan here, because that sizzle, that little bit of a quick little fry also, for me, I kind of like that flavor that it brings, and it's just kind of fun. We're gonna just give it a little bit of some salt, a little bit of some pepper. Move it around in the pan. And I like to get this started first, tossing everything together. And you'll see, it's going to cook down, it's gonna wilt down. You're gonna lose that volume, so that's absolutely fine and perfect and expected. That's expected. Once you start seeing it really start to come down, that's when you can go ahead and add in a little bit of some garlic and a little bit of shallots. Again, you don't want to burn it, so this is coming in at that last second here to cook all together. Oh, the smells right now are absolutely fantastic. Once you get that garlic and that shallot to hit that pan, come on now, folks. You're gonna be absolutely in love with it, because we're on the home stretch. The risotto's ready, the pork's nearly done. When we come back, my top tips for perfect plating ahead on Dinner Deas. Welcome back to Dinner Deas, where you ask and we deliver an idea for dinner. A gluten-free recipe, in fact, as requested by Diana at facebook.com/dinnerdeas. My suggestion for her and anyone hungry is this: seared pork tenderloin with a Parmesan risotto, roasted shallots, and wild mushrooms. Before the break, we got our seared pork loin into the oven, and that's the beauty of a cast iron pan. Sear, oven, beauty, done. That's it. It's safe to bake in, and you can have a lot of fun. Then we cooked down some mushrooms, added our tomatoes and olives into the shallots that we roasted earlier, and in our last pan, we got our greens going. Melting butter, little oil, garlic, shallots with that spinach. So, you ready to start plating? Because I know you're hungry. I'm getting hungry too. So, how do we get this going? Well, let's take our risotto. This is going to form our base, and all I'm going to just do is do a hefty spoonful here, and I'm going to go right into our center of our plate. And I'm just going to give it a nice little bit of a patting all the way around. I want to bring up a nice little bit of some color here. And we're just going to get a nice little bit of coating. That's perfect, absolutely perfect. We took our pork tenderloin out from our oven. We also made sure that it was at that temperature of 145, and also that it rested, because this is a beautiful, beautiful dish. You worked hard on it. You deserve it. So all I'm going to just do, slice into it. And if you want to have a little bit of some fun here, you can absolutely cut it the way that you want. But what I want to do is nice thin slices. I'm going to go a nice long way here because I'm going to spread it nicely. All right. We're going to just lay that right on top like so. Okay. That looks absolutely divine. All right. Now, you worked hard with these mushrooms, these olives, and these tomatoes. And that's just going to go right on top of it in the center here. And it might fall a little bit, and that's okay. That's all right. We're going to just put a nice mushroom right there. We're going to get a couple of those tomatoes to kind of fall where they want to. Bring a little height. Even the mushroom went down. Mushroom down, mushroom back. There you go. All right. We're going to just take a little bit of that butter and all the pan drippings, really, that now have been infused with a little bit of that butter, the garlic, the shallots, all of that rosemary and that thyme, because nothing's going to go to waste on this dish here. This is going to bring all of that flavor back in. And again, it's important to actually have some of that fat. Such a lean protein to work with. And you know what? Nothing also goes to waste with our ingredients. We used that fennel from before that was really nice with our risotto. I kept the fennel fronds. Why? Because now I get to just let them play where I want them to play on this dish. Get a little height, bring it there, bring it everywhere. You could be as fun and as artistic as you want to be because you get to play with your own food. A little bit of some parsley like that, just to kind of go around it like so. And that's it, my friends. A beautiful, absolutely incredible dish. Diana, there's your gluten-free idea for dinner. So when you make it, now you got a promise. I did this for you, you got to do this for me. Take a photo and let us know what you think. I'm Jeff Philbin. See you next time with another idea for dinner, as we call them, Dinner Dias.